Curiosity. What are you so curious about? Everything, Mr. Curiosity.
All righty, folks. Mr. Curiosity here, Joe Snedeker. And my dog just busted through my door here in my home office. Hi, Jet. All right, this week's guest, I'm so curious about, and I'm not just saying this. This is, all these podcasts I'm curious about. And don't call it a junkyard. It's Harry's. You pull it. And we got Tracy. And now, do I call you Joseph or Joe? Why does it say Joseph?
Joe is fine.
I figured, because when I saw that Tracy sent me the note and it said Joseph, I'm like, I don't know if I want to talk to this guy.
Nah, I'm just your average. I'm your average Joe, the non-junk guy. I'm a recycling guy.
Yeah, but Joe, do you know those?
Do
you know any Joes who like to be called Joseph? Already, I'm turned off when they say that. I'm like,
I don't.
Like, stop it. Just
well, if they say Joseph right away, they're tacking on another 10% on the bill. You know how that goes.
Yes.
Get Mr. Kress another beverage. That's another. You know what I mean.
All right, so I'll call you guys the Kress duo here. Here we go. All right.
Oh boy.
This is going to be good. And you promised, Joe, no foul language, right?
Oh, you better watch yourself.
What now? Is that George Carlin's rule, or which one?
That's WNEP's rule, not mine.
Can you tell me the list? Can you verbally tell me what not to say, Joe?
No, I hope.
Or is it Joseph?
No, it's Joe. It's Joe.
Okay.
And I'm hoping, because it's Earth Week time, it's Earth Day coming up. Yes. That we can somehow tie this all into recycling. There's good news here, but I want to tell you how I first was interested in you. Your commercials back 10, 20 years ago.
Right.
Where I'm thinking, this has got to be a cool guy, whoever's doing this. You used to have what appeared to me in my memory as a bikini-clad woman on a car going, any part, 99, what was it, dollars or cents?
No, it was 99 cents for any part. The kicker to that was the admission fee to get in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So if we,
it was pretty cheap at the time, because it was actually only $20 to get in.
That's funny. But let's go back. That's 20 years ago, right?
99.
Yeah, let's go even.
Was the year 99?
Let's go even farther back to the beginning of this business that you now have called Harry's. You pull it. So how does all this start? What's the deal?
Well, my grandfather started out probably, I would say, the mid-20s, 1925, 6, 7. I don't know the exact date.
Right.
They had a towing and a repair service.
Okay.
Towing and repair service. And this is the turn of the century, so there's not a lot of vehicles around.
I was going to say there's not much.
So as they repair, and then they had, like, they did fleet stuff, like with Stroman's Bakery, whatever was back then. I don't know.
Right.
Because it was, I'm fourth generation. So this is first and second generation. And their names are all Josephs and Harrys. So everybody's Joseph and Harry in our basically in our family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they started out with that. So they gathered cars, and then all of a sudden they're out of room for cars, because now that little block that they were using. They bought 200 acres on the western part of Hazleton, which is West Hazleton, Hazel Township now. I believe it might have been Hazel Township then. I really don't know.
Right.
I'm a little younger.
A little younger. You're a lot younger than that.
Anyway, so then they started the yard. It was Kress Auto Wreckers.
But back then, so the same lot that you're on now, because I have to admit, I've never been to your place. I've seen the commercials, and it just looks so interesting. And it seemed like an interesting guy in business. That you're at the same place as all this started?
That's our main location. Now we have other locations.
Gotcha. So, but the main location is still there.
Right. And that's 200 acres.
Yikes.
Now we're using a majority of 100 acres there. We've just recently put a shredder in, probably in the last 5 years, but we've expanded to Allentown, Pennsburg, where we started a place for purchasing vehicles in Plains, PA.
So this guy, did you say your great grandfather or your grandfather?
Well, my great grandfather, his name was Joseph Harry Kress.
And where did he come from?
I don't even know. I think Germany.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my mother's Italian and Greek, so it's mostly German and I believe a little English.
I bet he had to be cracking some coal here in northeastern central.
Well, that's when coal was king. So everything was like, the populations of all these communities back then were like, probably double or triple the amount.
Right.
I mean, just look at Scranton. I think at one time that was the third largest city, I think, wasn't it, in the state?
You got me, brother. You got me.
Oh,
But what troubles me is now my grandfather was a coal miner and he was just a coal miner. And now your great grandparents and grandparents, how do you bust out and say, I'm going to start this business? Why does this happen? And now you have this big enterprise.
Well, they started in the towing and the repair business. So then they gathered all these cars and they started an auto parts business, used auto parts.
And this is back in the 30s, 40s, 50s. I mean, there's not many.
They started in when they bought the property, probably, I'd say in the late 20s.
Yikes.
Late 20s. They started that and they, they had all this property. I mean, they bought this, they had this little office that's probably, I don't know what the size, like 10 by 20.
Yeah.
They almost used it up to the early 60s, believe it or not.
Right.
So with that being said, they sold these guys auto parts.
Did they make tons of money? Were they like big shots in the area or walking around?
Well, because everybody it was known as, hey, you want to get a part, go down to Cressy's.
Oh, I see.
It wasn't Kress, it was Cressy's.
Cressy's.
So, that's what they call it,
Yeah.
So again, with that being said, I mean, that's the people came in and believe it, back in the day, people did pull their own parts off. Now it's just a complete different, it's a complete different structured thing, but it's basically, they did it back then. Everybody knew where their favorite car was. And now we didn't just have the major three companies, forget about foreign cars. You had different other makes and models back then.
Yeah.
I had a Hubmobile, I don't Nash.
Yep.
Stuff like that. So people would come and pull their own parts off. I mean, they take their own parts off and then come down and pay for it.
Any part, just 99 cents.
Well, now we're getting further into the
wait, I know. You see, I know what the double meaning there is, but anyway, it caught my attention. Let's go to, I imagine you look like you were born in the 60s like me. Am I correct?
Yes.
All right. So
I was born in the 60s.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
So if you could tell me
when you landed on the moon, I was born, and then I started in the business.
I'm judging you by your gorgeous wife, maybe. Okay, so maybe a little bit before. I don't know, whatever. But anyway, right. So when you enter the scene and you're a kid and you're 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, I guess what I'm asking, was this a part of your world?
Yes, I was born in 1955. I'm going to reveal that because a lot of women want to.
Okay, I love it. All right.
Of course, my wife's, anyway.
She's a lot younger.
She's my age.
Yeah.
Joe, she's my age. You know what I mean?
Okay. I'm glad we're getting this out. I'm glad we're airing it all out.
She looks good for her age, doesn't she?
I'm actually 10 years old.